from now on. Today's session is all about going beyond the green screen, and what we're going to do is we're going to look at a product called Profound Genie. It's from a company called Profound Logic. Just 1 second. I think I had the screen paused, so you should now be seeing a beyond the green screen slide. Okay, yeah, Profound Logic are a company that we partner with. They've got a product called Genie, amongst others, and Genie is for want of a better expression, it's a green scraper, but it's a green scraper with a lot of differences to other products you may have seen. And what I'll do is I'll show you a before and after sample of what we can achieve with the green screen application, and then we'll go through some points on how we achieved what we've seen. Okay, so Genie is a browser-based 5250 emulation session. So in the same way that you're probably using something like Client Access or the new ACS product, that basically renders a 5250 data stream into a desktop application, where Genie takes that 5250 data stream and renders it into a browser. So that's as clear cut as the sort of description of the product. It requires minimal effort. You can load Genie onto your system and instantly run all of your green screens within a browser without any changes whatsoever. And I'll show you that. I'll show you some examples of that in a minute. You can then go on to configure at a global level so that every screen in the system reacts a certain way, or you can actually customize individual screens. It runs in the Apache server that runs on the IBM I. And what I'm going to do, rather than sort of talk about the product, I'm going to jump in right at the end and then work backwards. So if we consider this is a before screen, so this is a typical 5250 transaction screen. In this particular case, it's a patient record, so it's a sort of a medical company. But typically, you've got some address details and some contact details, and then some other, in this case, emergency contacts. But this could be a typical supply chain company where you're dealing with customers, you're dealing with suppliers, and you'll have a customer address file and so on. So out of the box, we install Genie. We can run the same application. You'll notice it's now running in browser, and it shows everything that was on the green screen originally. What we've done is now made it from a green on black screen to, this case, a blue on white screen. So the only advantage is really is that it's running in the browser, and we'll come on to why that's an advantage in a little while. But this is out of the box without any customization at all, either customization at the global level or customization at the individual screen level. This is raw out of the box. After a customization process, we can now achieve something like this. So that's running the same program, the underlying program. It's using the same display file to drive the application. But what we've done is we've put a layer over the top of this, and we've smartened up the whole thing. And we've segregated some of the data using tab panels and so on. We've put photographs on. So this, in essence, is what the Genie product is all about, and this is what we can do with it. So I'm going to now switch on to an actual demonstration, and I'll show you how we achieved something similar to that. I mean, I obviously can't show you that whole scenario because that would have taken a couple of hours to do. We've got 10 minutes or so. But the Profound UI product splits into 3 different areas. I'm only focusing today on Genie, but if you're interested in any of the other products within the portfolio, give us a shout and we'll go through those at a later date. I'm going to start the Genie administrator. Again, Genie itself runs in a browser, and we have this concept called, refer to it as a skin, but the skin describes the theme, the look and feel, the aesthetics, if you like, of the design that we're going to render. And I'm going to take you into a skin called the classic. So I'm going to launch that. This then launches our session, and then let me just make that bigger so you can see. So this particular Genie skin is mimicking a green on black. It has the look and feel of a green on black screen, so we can just run commands, and it's interacting with the underlying display file, so you'll get what you get on the green screen, but this is running in the browser. Okay, I'm going to sign off from here and take you into a second option where I take a different skin just to show the differences. We now have exactly the same process running under the bonnet, but we've now prettied up the screen, and we've made things functionally slightly different in that what we've told Genie to do is look for function keys and put them into a little menu bar on the left hand side. So Genie on the fly has interpreted the data stream and said, oh, you've got a button called continue, you've got a button called exit, which is F3, and so on, F4 prompt. And we've taken the information off that function key and built a menu panel on the left hand side. And this is at the global level. So every screen that we now run will do the same process. And obviously the function keys change and so on. There are some other things you can see going on there, but in essence, this is a global customization that's taken place, and that's fairly straightforward to do, in actual fact. And you can help Genie by teaching it certain aspects of your system, and you can customize that using a JavaScript framework. And so if your system doesn't conform to the standards that IBM, like F3 is exit and F8 is update and so on, if you have a different set of rules, we can customize that fairly simply. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go into a menu with some little demo programs, and what I'm going to take you through is how we then customize an individual screen. So I'm just taking a sort of basic supplier maintenance screen. And what I'm going to do is you see this panel at the top. This gives me the ability to now switch between design mode and runtime mode. So at the moment I'm in runtime mode, and it's showing me the actual screen and how it's going to look. I flip that into design mode. Okay, and some certain things pop up. You can see from here I've got this widgets menu bar. What I'll do is I'm just going to shrink the screen size down so you can actually see what's going on. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a tab panel. Hopefully you can still see this. I'm going to click on the tab panel, and I'm going to drag a tab panel into the canvas. Just make this slightly bigger. See if I can pick up the edge. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag and drop and pick up these values here and put them down here. Let's move this out of the way so I can. In tab 2, I'm going to take these values and put them into tab 2. Tab 3, I'm going to take the remainder. Okay, now we'll shrink the tab panel down again and move it back up into the screen. I'm going to maximize the screen again so you can see what's happening. Click into, I don't want to do that. I want to save the screen. Okay, go back into runtime mode, and now if I now run my program, I've now taken the information off individual tabs. So I obviously need to do some work on that on this second tab and tidy things up a bit. But what I've done is I've taken certain fields off of the screen and put them into individual tabs. So now this is the basis of what we looked at on that patient records screen. So we've sort of segregated certain bits of data and put them into tab panels to add clarity to the actual display itself. And the underlying program is reacting in exactly the same way. We haven't made any program changes at all, and the program will still continue to run. So the function keys are still exactly the same. It's just that we've manipulated things and moved things around a bit. If you get errors on one tab, we can automatically jump to the tab that's got the error on it, so that you know, from a sort of navigation point of view, the program then starts to work more as a browser type of application than it would a green screen. But I'm not going to go into too much detail on that. This was just to really give you a you know, a whistle-stop tour around the Genie product and how you can quite easily install the Genie product and out of the box run you know, the applications in the browser, and then how you can customize things. But let me tell you why, or let me demonstrate to you why it would be advantageous, you know, why there's an advantage to be had from running things in a browser. And to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign off from here, exit there, go into a different skin. And you can have as many skins as you like. You can customize and create your own. This particular one's got some different demos. Okay, so if I take the standard customer maintenance program, you can see that I've taken all the options from the customer the maintenance screen, and I've put them into a drop down box. So where I'd enter option 5 and press the enter, I can now just select the option from here. Now, this is a typical customer address maintenance program, and what I've done is I've taken the city, the state, this is in an American system, but you know, the postcode in this country, and I've made a Google Maps lookup by taking the information out of these and building a URL and putting it into an iframe. So this is the advantage that you have when you're running things into a browser. You're into a completely different world where you can literally just spin off and, you know, build up links and URLs to other parts of the system running somewhere else on other people's servers and so on. So you're into a much more open world. And bear in mind, we haven't changed the underlying application still. This is still running your RPG program, your green screen display file, and we've just built on top of that. And just to give you some other examples, the same thing with the product. You've got these images, so we can take in this case it was a product number, and I've built a path name by substituting that in, and I've made a JPEG file called 961.jpg somewhere on the file system, and I've created a link directly to that, and it automatically shows that up. But you see things like, you know, you've got checkboxes, so instead of a yes or no flag, you can set that to a checkbox, and you can have the customer then, or the users then tick it or untick it rather than to a yes and a no. And if we go into the design mode, you'll see the widgets menu. These are all of the widgets that are available to us. So a date picker, if we wanted to make a date field, if you've got a date field and you want to make it respond to a date picker, you literally click on that entry, the input fields, and say, instead of this being a text field, I want it to be a date field. And the system then gives you the functionality where you click on a little diary next to it. So you click on the diary, and it opens up a diary for them to select certain dates. So you when you start thinking of the advantage of this, a date picker now removes all the necessary validation that you've got in your system, because you can't enter an invalid date through a date picker. So there's lots and lots of advantages that we can make in this. Let me just give you a final. I need to come out of design mode. Just in the little. So if we look at on this particular screen, we've got this particular one is a supplier maintenance, the one we saw earlier, and there's a payment method which is either check or backs. And on the initial green screen, you have to enter a C or you have to enter a B, and then you've got, if you enter a B for backs, you have to enter the sort code and the account code. So in this case, I've made this a radio button, so you click on check or you click on backs, so it's much more user friendly. But at the same time, I've customized it to say that if they click a C, there's no point in me asking them to enter the account code. I'll just hide that, and if they click on B, then it reappears. So again, you can interact certain elements, certain widgets with other things that are taking place on the screen, and this will be down to sort of individual screen customization. Okay, and the last thing I'm going to show you is using the tablet Genie skin, just to give you a flavour. And you can already see at the bottom we've got the enter key, the page up, the page down, and the keypad. We've also identified, or Genie has identified, that there are other function keys or other command keys that are active on the screen but actually not shown. Now that's not particularly helpful on a 5250. We know what enter does, so we don't need to show it on the screen. But on a tablet where you don't have a keyboard active all the time, it's important. So you now click on a button and it presses the enter key for you. We can also click on keypad and it will give us the full range of function keys. So we can click on a function key, because obviously there are no function keys on a tablet. So we can use this particular Genie skin, and again, this is customization at the global level. So you can now run your application in a tablet, and you've got all the ability to press function keys, press the enter, press the page up and page down keys, and so on. So that comes to the end of the presentation on going beyond the green screen.